I say in response. Number one, everybody here should know that over the last 30 years, there has been a massive redistribution of wealth in this country from working families to the top 1/10 of 1%. You know, I get criticized every day for thinking too big, but I didn't hear too many of the establishment people saying, hey, what's going on? Trillions of dollars going from working families to the top 1/10 of 1%. But somehow when you want to bring that money back to the working families of this country, that's a terrible idea. I disagree. So you know how we're going to pay to make public colleges and universities tuition-free and lower student debt? We're going to impose a tax on Wall Street speculation. When Wall Street's illegal behavior nearly destroyed our economy, they went begging the Congress for a bailout. Now it is Wall Street's turn to help the middle class of this country. Now, I know that here in Texas, your senators and your governor disagree. Will disagree with me when I say the following, and that is that as a member of the Senate Environmental Committee and the Senate Energy Committee, I have talked to scientists all over this world. And what they say almost unanimously is that climate change is real, it is caused by human activity, and it is already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world. Now, what the scientists also tell us is that if we do not get our act together in a short period of time, by the end of this century, this planet Earth, our only planet, could be 5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit warmer. And that means more drought, more floods, more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the ocean, the destruction of our oceans, more rising sea levels, flooding coastal regions, and it also means more international conflict as people fight over limited natural resources. Now, it seems to me, as the grandfather of 7 beautiful grandchildren, and my 4 kids are okay as well, but it's really the grandchildren, that we together, for future generations, for all of our kids and our grandchildren and all those who come after us, we have a moral responsibility to make sure that the planet we leave our kids and grandchildren is healthy and habitable. Now, I want to connect some dots here and tell you how it happens. And I want you to think about this. How does it happen that not one Republican candidate for president, or very few Republicans, a few, but not many, will say to you or to the American people what virtually the entire scientific community is saying? Climate change is real. All right, this is a smart group of people. You hit it already. And what it comes down to, this is just one example of many of what a corrupt campaign finance system is about. Because if a Republican candidate for president came before you and said, well, you know, I talked to the scientists, I've read the literature, we got a serious problem, we got to do something about it, on that day, that candidate would lose his funding from the Koch brothers, from the fossil fuel industry. So I say to those Republicans Stop worrying about your campaign contributions. Worry about the future of this planet. Now, during the course of this campaign, I get criticized quite often. And one area that I have been criticized is the following. The United States is the only major country on earth that does not guarantee health care to all people. And I have been criticized for saying the following, and let me say it to you as clearly as I can. I believe that health care is a right of all people, not a privilege. Now, the Affordable Care Act has done some good things. We've gotten rid of this disastrous pre-existing condition. 17 million more Americans now have health insurance, and we've done away with discrimination against women who were forced to pay higher premiums because they were women. But despite those gains, 29 million people in America still have zero health insurance. Many of you are underinsured with high deductibles and high co-payments. And what that means, if you have a high deductible and you get sick and you don't have much money, you know what happens? You don't go to the doctor, which is pretty crazy because you're only going to get sicker. And then on top of that, we are being ripped off big time by the drug companies who are charging us the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. One out of 5 Americans, if you can believe it, cannot afford to purchase the prescription drugs their doctors prescribe. Talk about crazy. All right. Meanwhile, after all of that, we spend almost 3 times more than the British, who have universal health care, 50% more than the French, far more than the Canadians. I think the time is now for this country to move toward a Medicare for all health care program. Now, what this campaign is about between Republicans and me is a very, very different vision for America. Something like that. Now, Donald Trump, some of you may have heard of. You have heard of Donald Trump. So let me say a couple of things. You know, polls go up and polls go down, and we shouldn't put too much emphasis on polls. But here's the good news. Almost all of the polls that I have seen have us defeating Donald Trump. And sometimes in these polls we beat them by double digits. And let me tell you some, not all, but some of the reasons that we will defeat Trump if he is the nominee. Okay? We will win because the American people do not agree with Trump that we should give hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the top 0.2%. We will win because the American people do not agree with Trump that we should keep a minimum wage, a starvation wage of $7.25 an hour. We will defeat Trump because he is wrong and the American people do not agree that wages in America are too high. They're too low, not too high. Now, all of you know that Donald Trump is the greatest of everything, including one of the great scientists of our time. And as a brilliant scientist who has studied climate change, he has concluded that climate change is a hoax created by the Chinese. Now, I was shocked. I was honestly shocked to hear that, because I would have thought that he believed that climate change was a hoax created by the Mexicans or the Muslims. Why the Chinese? I don't know. We will defeat Trump because the American people do not want a president who insults Mexicans, Muslims, who insults women, African Americans, who insults veterans, and basically insults anybody who is not like Donald Trump. Thank God most of us are not like Donald Trump. We will win because our campaign is bringing people together, not dividing them. We will win because community trumps selfishness. And most importantly, love trumps hatred. Now, this campaign is not just about electing a president. It is about transforming America. It is about people being engaged in the political process in a way that we have not seen for a long time. All right. On Tuesday, there is an important election, a very important election here in Texas. I hope very much that not only will all of you come out and vote, you'll bring your family, your friends, your uncles, your aunts. Texas can help lead this country forward in the political revolution. Thank you all very much.